best friend of DJ from Full House, which is Kimmy Gibbler, which is the annoying neighbor friend who's an amazing friend to DJ, but kind of inserts herself into the family's businesses continuously and doesn't care if it's the right time or not. And I think that's kind of where I decided to go with it. I'm like, just always there, always looking to push Delia into doing something, and she is always influencing me to do something, just how most teenage girls do. They want to influence their friend because they never want to go alone. They need somebody there with them. And Stacy's just kind of a boy crazy, middle of the area of attractiveness, and just really wanting to get herself, out there in the world and really wanting to experience things. And that's kind of why she joins the band. She's always been in Delia's shadow because she loves Delia to death. I mean, they're best friends. And I think she's just starting to try to find her own way so that Delia can have her life and she can have her life.
Yeah, totally understandable. Now, behind the scenes, would you say that you and Jennifer kind of have the same... Jennifer playing Delia, of course. Would you say that you and Jennifer kind of have, like, the same chemistry off the stage as well as on stage? On screen as well as off screen. I'm thinking more theater-wise on the stage, but, off screen, on screen. Do you think that you and Jennifer kind of have the same chemistry?
I'll say it again. Yes, we do. Yes. It's awesome. I'll tell you the first time I met Jennifer, and she might hate this story, but I'm sorry, I'm going to tell it. So it was our first day of filming, and we were filming episode 1 where, like we're in her bedroom talking about what outfit she's going to wear, and it's, like, the exact same outfit. And so I get there first, and we're waiting on Jennifer, and I've never met her before. And all of a sudden, like, Wyatt's like, oh, she's going to be running late, and it's okay. And I'm like, oh, that's totally fine. So I'm in the makeup room getting my makeup done by Chris. And she runs into the makeup room, like, crying and apologizing over, like, being late and apologizing she got a speeding ticket going down Highway 90. Like, wow. It's hard to do. So she must have been trying to book it to the first episode. She was very excited. But so I meet her by having this girl come in. Oh, I got a speeding ticket. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. I'm not usually like this. And it was so crazy. I'm like, oh man, this is the person I'm working with. Like she seems so flustered. And then all of a sudden, she went from being, like, distressed into, like, back into actor mode. And she is one of the most talented actresses I ever get to work with, because she's always got her lines. She has a theater background. Her lines are on point. And it's just really fun because we really get to play off of one another. And we really do have the, like, goofy hugging scenes. Like, it's never written in the script. We just decide to do that. Or we decide to pull stuff out of my boobs, or we just decide to do goofy things to make our characters a little more personable, even though they're zombies. But we really have an amazing time on set. And whenever I'm not filming with her, because now that Stacy kind of goes off by herself sometimes, it's always kind of like depressing. I'm like, where's my best friend?
Well, you do kind of hit the nail on the head there, that this YouTube series is definitely a lot different from most others, especially if you compare, like, Deadersons to Walking Dead. Obviously, zombies from the Deadersons are a little more, like, as we mentioned before, monsters-like. They have a little more character, personality, and of course in Walking Dead, they're just kind of, walkers. They're kind of the undead. They're kind of just really there. And I do applaud, though, the acting by any of the walkers on Walking Dead, because great television series, by the way. It's just crazy how, I go from something like that to, wow, these zombies are creepy, or, watching, like, a lot of classic movies like, Dawn of the Dead, Welcome to Zombieland, Walking Dead, all these stereotypes on there. And for you guys to kind of break that stereotype and create something different, that's got to put a lot of pressure on you guys to kind of just create something different that people will kind of have a different viewpoint when they think about, you know, the undead of zombies, really.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, of course, is Chris's idea, Chris Williamson, the creator, and she was telling me, I mean, she probably knows the story a little better, but apparently she was in the hospital on, like, pain meds or something, and, like, the idea just popped into her head. So, thank medication for the Deadersons. But, yeah, she
Thank
just
God for drugs.
right? She just decided that, well, what makes zombies evil? Like, what if zombies aren't evil? Or what if the undead are just people? And sadly, they have died, but as undead are, you are still movable, you still think, you still can do things, and it's how you're trying to survive through the apocalypse, just as, you know, just I'm a zombie, maybe, like, I still have feelings and stuff. And I think it's just a good way that she can also do some fun, like, mirroring of our world that we actually live in here right now and in the world of the apocalypse by having, like, the tension between the undead and the living can mirror some tension that is going on in the real world without having it seem so controversial and seem so, like, yelling politics in people's face, which people don't always like that, but mirroring stuff the way Chris can do is still kind of bringing little attentions and a little, just a little way for people to, hey, maybe differences aren't always scary. Maybe people should give people a chance, type of thing.
I can see where that comes from. You mentioned, of course, makeup. Let's actually talk about that for a minute. Very unique makeup setup, because a lot of people, when they think of the zombies, are thinking, you know, like rotting faces or just kind of, you know, disfigured and everything like that. But for you guys, you kind of take it into a more simplistic route. And I've seen so many of those pictures on Facebook where you guys have like a green face and blackened eyes. Kind of explain a little bit, you know, what that accomplished, what I guess what the point of that is. Like, how were you explained as to that? Because obviously it's not like any other zombies where, you know, you see that kind of like simplistic makeup, but, you know, why green and why blackened eyes, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, again, Chris and Wyatt wanted to shoot it like an old 60s sitcom, like how the Munsters were shot, and so we were going to do black and white. And kind of what Chris and Wyatt were talking about is like how Frankenstein, the colorations of Frankenstein in black and white came from green makeup. It's not technically that he was supposed to be green. It was the green reflects different tones of gray that come off differently in black and white and in a grayscale than just a white skin with blackened contouring. So they really wanted to kind of bring that old school like technique to the Deadersons, which is really cool and really, you know, classic horror buffs would love hearing that. Like, we picked green and we're not supposed to be seen in color because, like, the zombies, of course, aren't actually green. We're just, our skin is just lightened and, you know, we're a little like caving in because we're losing weight because we're a dead body. And so the green just helps reflect different skin tones for us to look much different than the living. And that's why we have the green makeup. And that's why we kind of do, I mean, like you were saying, it is more simplistic in a way, but I mean, it would be even simpler to not do the green at all. But Chris and Wyatt wanted to stay true to the roots of classic horror and the roots of classic sitcoms that did these kind of monster-y things. So they really wanted to add that green makeup on to just give it that extra boost and give it that extra like, different look of what a zombie could be compared to somebody who's living.
Okay, that makes sense. How long does it usually take to apply that kind of makeup?
Well, the first day we did it, it took forever. It probably took like almost maybe 30, 40 minutes, which is not good when you have to do like 20 zombies. And so Chris really took the reins and just decided to do all the makeup kind of herself. She has some volunteers that help a little bit, but she can do your whole face up in makeup. And she does, like, the basic makeup, and then, like, me and Jennifer, like, for the girl zombies, they'll add some lip color and some eyeliner and stuff just to make you look a little more feminine, but she can get you ready in maybe under 5 minutes, I'm going to say. I mean, that might be exaggerating, but she's been doing it now for so long that she's gotten super fast, and thank goodness she is, because if she would be taking 45 minutes on each of us, we would never get done.
Right. I think it also does make sense because I think it's hard to really explain kind of what you have envisioned and ingrained in your head. You kind of have the point where it's like, I know what I want. I can just do it myself, and I do applaud, Chris for taking the reins on that. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, might want a little bit of help just kind of explaining, how you want it, because you don't want to kind of overdo it and just kind of, I guess, using the phrase, just go on like maximum overload or just burn yourself out, because that might not work out too well, because then you might go crazy. Trust me, I know from experience. So.
Yeah, I think she's getting more volunteers to help her out with the makeup, but, I mean, Chris is a perfectionist, so she would probably rather do it herself, even though it's way easier, and she has so many different hats in this production that she probably shouldn't have to wear the makeup artist hat too, but I don't know, I couldn't see her just stopping doing the makeup for the Deadersons, because it's like her thing. But if she finds someone who maybe does it exactly the way she wants it done, she might hand it over to them. She's definitely not going to hand it over to Wyatt, because
right.
She tried that once, and it did not turn out good. Now Wyatt can atone to this, because we had to reshoot everything. I did my own makeup because Chris couldn't come. I think she was sick. And then Wyatt did 3 other people's makeup. And I was looking at him, I'm like, uh-oh, this is gonna work out. Chris is gonna be pissed. and sure enough, she was like, we're reshooting all of this. The only person who looked decent was Tori. And so I was like, sorry everyone.
Oh, man. Whose idea was it to come up with the commercials? Because I think that, in all honesty, it was one of those few things where I looked at it and I'm just like, oh gosh, even on YouTube deals you got to do commercials. But even with that, I found the commercials to be very entertaining. Who kind of came up with those?
I'm going to say that probably would be a better question for Wyatt and Chris, because it was one of them or both of them collaborating together, I believe, because it's just another way, like, the series can make maybe some money, and then also for these small businesses in the Rockford and the state line area, to just make like a little bit of cash maybe off of a YouTube reoccurring commercial, because these small businesses definitely cannot afford even the little TV, the little public TV that I worked on, like the NBC station in Rockford. These small businesses can't afford the commercials for that. So to have like a web series who will, make a commercial for maybe like a half to a third of the price of the TV station and come out, shoot everything, and throw their characters in, give you actors. It's really a great deal for these companies. If their commercial stays on the Deadersons episode 1 or the Deadersons episode whatever, as long as it's on YouTube, it's going to be there. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure if the DVDs have the commercials. I kind of think they are. I kind of think that they're in there, but I'm not for sure. I haven't gotten my DVD yet. But another reason we do have commercials and they do use the Deaderson characters is because kind of like how the old sitcoms had those commercials in there, and they'll just go to a different stage real quick, and the character will be like, oh, now I'll show you how to make bread with this amazing roller by a kitchen maid. I don't know. And then pull it out, and then you're like, oh, wow, we should get that because it's in the show. We should get that. So that's why you'll have, like, Donna Deaderson, like, using Z-Thread, or, like, me at Katie's Pie Shop and with the zombie pies. And it's just creative, and it's it's another aspect that I think Chris really wanted in her show, to really give another homage to the old sitcoms.